Welcome to episode 25, season 4. Brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. Jonathan, how are we?
We are good, Sam. Been in a lot of high school basketball gyms this week. Been all over the place. Been keeping up with college basketball still, obviously, but haven't had a whole ton of time to just sit down and watch college hoops, which this is a good week for it if there ever is a time for that.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to high school hoops because I was also in a high school gym. Well, the college gym that had a lot of high school games yesterday.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. But we have to lead the show tonight with the discussion about Andy Enfield because a couple nights ago, after USC got punked at Oregon, I tweeted out we might have to lead the show with an Andy Enfield discussion. Tonight, USC got punked at Oregon State. The Trojans, who entered the season in both of our preseason top 10s, have now lost 5 of their last 6 and are 6-7. Is this Andy Enfield's last season as the head coach of the Trojans? Jonathan?
Yes, it is. I believe very strongly that at some point in time, every coach has an expiration date. And whether that's recognized by the people he works for or not is completely irrelevant to the point. Andy Enfield has been at USC now for
It's 11 years.
Almost a decade.
It's 11 years.
11 years. That's crazy. But yeah, it's been 11 years. He's won a lot of games there. He's gotten to an Elite Eight. He's gotten to a Sweet 16. But he seems to have created a higher standard for USC basketball than what it was when he got there. And it's USC. They're in the Big Ten now. They're gonna have a ton of money. They always do. And that should be the case. But I still think Andy Enfield's a really good coach, regardless of the decision USC makes.
Andy Enfield will find his way at a high major somewhere. I definitely think he gets a high major, or he takes a Washington State in the WCC if Kyle Smith leaves, or he would get a good job somewhere.
Right.
But I've said this. The fact of the matter is that there are really no consequences at the USC job for not really. It's the easiest job. It's been over the last decade one of the easiest jobs in the country for Andy Enfield because it's USC. It recruits itself. It's a prestigious school in LA with a lot of money, especially in the NIL era. It recruits itself. It's a Nike school. Is Bronny James going there? Is Bronny James and the money that's coming from Bronny James going there because of Andy Enfield? No. He's going there because it's a Nike school in LA. It's USC.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, USC, with the amount of talent that they've had, being a 7 seed every year, being a 7 seed at your ceiling is just not what that program should be aspiring for. And Enfield has not proven that he can take that program to the next level. He's brought it to the level that it's at, which is very good. It's very good that he's done that. And I think his 11 years are a good 11 years in USC basketball. I mean, look, first time in program history, they've won 20 games 4 years in a row. I was listening to the Oregon State radio broadcast, and they told me that today, and I'm like, wow, that's really impressive. But USC should be winning 20 games every year, no matter what. They should be competing for Pac-12 now. They should be competing towards the top half of the Big Ten. Are we sure Andy Enfield's going to get them 5 or 6 seeds, 4 seeds, 3 seeds, 2 seeds in the future instead of just 7 and 8 seeds?
Yeah, outside of just basketball, outside of just internally at USC, obviously next year you have the conference move, and UCLA is not exactly in the greatest spot right now. They got a coach who's blaming everyone but himself in press conferences every other night. He's just it seems completely checked out over there, and there seems to be more problems with that team that we may like not like realize just on the surface. If you are going to go out and like make a coaching change, like now could be the time to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you make your conference move, try and one up your rival potentially if Mick Cronin does have a foot out the door because he might,
Mhm.
and then you go outbid them for a new coach. That would be a power move. That would be a power move.
Yeah, and like I want to say that like does USC have any like I don't think they have any like s- big commits. Yeah, like
No,
they have 3 commits in this class, but like no one like that your program like would be decimated if you lost them.
no, I can't think. Who are the commits?
Trent Perry, um, Brady Kozlowski, and Liam Campbell.
Oh, I've heard of Kozlowski. Where is he from?
He's from Utah. And then Campbell's the kid from Idaho, and Trent Perry goes to Harvard Westlake. Which
Yeah,
like
that's a
which
good
like
class.
at that point, like if you're a Harvard Westlake kid going to USC, like your high priority is probably like staying close to home. And so like a new coach could probably convince him to stay.
Yeah, and that's a good recruiting class. It's
Mhm.
nothing special though.
It's ranked 13th.
Yeah,
Fine.
and that's before a lot of guys have committed. Not everyone is committed yet.
Mhm.
Um, Back to USC though. 0-2 in the Pac-12, have lost their last 5 games to top 300 to top 299 of opposition. Their one win in this span is Alabama State, which was on the road. I'll give them that. But no. Um they lost to Gonzaga on a neutral by double digits, Long Beach State in overtime when they kept missing those free throws. They're 20 and 36, remember.
Mhm.
Um Punked by Auburn, punked by Oregon, punked by Oregon State, which is really concerning. Oregon State, by the way, 9-4 and has won 6 of 7. Um,
The Wayne Tinkle
but
extension was worth it.
Bronny James tonight, maybe his best game in a USC uniform, 15 points and a rebound and 3 assists
Mhm.
in 20 minutes, the most he's played. What have been your initial thoughts on how Bronny has played?
I mean, he shows the projectables that I thought he has. His basketball IQ is high. He's more explosive than people give him credit for. Really active defensively. Just like they're gonna work him in. He's hasn't played a ton. It's gonna be a work in progress. I like that. Like obviously his NBA decision is going to be come down to a lot more than just how good he is at basketball. But like this is a guy who can be a major impact player, and a guy that's going to consistently get better throughout the year as he gets used to playing at this level of basketball again.
Yeah, I thought people were overreacting about Isaiah Collier and how much he was struggling earlier in the season when he was doing really, really well.
I don't even
But
think he is struggling.
he's he's officially struggling. He has in his last 4 games 13, 11, 11, and 7.
hmm
That's not very good. He's down to 31% from 3. His turnover rate is 26.2. Yes, his assist rate is at 30, which is very good. But I'm officially a little concerned about him because he has struggled in his Pac-12 games so far. 4 for 9, and then he only got to take 5 shots today, and he turned it over 5 times. That's
My concern with him looking at it, like I didn't think he was struggling early in the year, but like now, like looking at what he's done the last couple games and looking at his overall body of work, it is a little concerning to me that the better the opponent, the worse he plays.
yep. versus
On a
tier A opponents in 4 games, he is at an 89 offensive rating with a 27 turnover rate and
not
0.5 steal rate.
so offensive ratings were 80 and 95 on this Oregon trip, 100 against Auburn, 94 against Gonzaga, 74 against Oklahoma.
Yeah, not
And then
good.
84 against the UC Irvine team. That's not bad either.
Not very good, and, I mean, that puts a when he's not playing well, it puts a lot of stress on Boogie Ellis because I know we talk about how much shot creation there is in that backcourt, but outside of those 2 guys, this is not a team with a ton of shot creation.
I think anyone who like follows recruiting, including us, like, and this will lead into my next point. We nailed this. Like this freshman class is god awful. Like me and you sat down today and tried to list every player we thought would at this point is a for sure one and done. There was like 12 guys on the list,
12? Was it even?
14, something like that.
Was it even that many?
We pull it up. I think it was 14.
You don't need to. You don't need to. Just go
It
on.
was 14. But like that kind of leads me into my next point and moving off of USC with how bad this freshman class is. Like Cal's having a really good freaking year. Coaching wise,
Oh, John Calipari?
yeah.
We'll get to them.
Yeah, it tied to my point, so I wanted to make it.
Yeah, Boogie, it puts a lot of stress on him because, again, outside of Zay and Boogie, there isn't a ton of shot creation on this roster.
Yeah, it's
I mean, depending on like what you think of Oziah Sellers,
like this is like a extremely difficult hole to climb out of. Because like yeah, you can figure it out, but like how many quad ones are even left on their schedule?
yeah, I mean, Washington State away, Washington away, Arizona both times, Utah both times, Colorado. That's more than you think.
Like let's put it this way: let's put it this way, if you lose 2 more times to teams not named Arizona and Colorado on the road, like you're going to be in the bubble discussion.
They are going to be on the wrong. They are right now not an NIT team.
No,
They are 69th in Ken Palm, and that feels high because they are 6 and 7.
listen, I don't have the net pulled up in front of me, but like I could tell you right now, like they have at least like one quad 4 and multiple quad 3s.
Yeah, I mean USC picked up probably a quad 3 today. Let me check. Maybe a quad 2 because it was away. Nope, a quad 3 today. They have 2 quad 3s, no quad 4s.
Oh,
They
okay.
are 0 and 3 in quadrant 1 because
Yeah.
Kansas State is not quadrant 1. Seton Hall is not quadrant 1. Those are their only 2 quadrant 2 wins. They are 3 and 7 against every team that is not in quadrant 4.
Like I'm gonna be honest here. Like let's exclude the Arizona road game because like you're not gonna win that. Like they don't even have like enough regular season quad 1 opportunities to like make up for some of this already.
Tough, yeah. Looks like they have 6 quad 1 games left.
Like they have to win.
Probably 3.
They have to win almost every winnable game on their schedule the rest of the way.
To make it. Yeah, it's tough. Life is going to be tough for this USC team.
I
And
mean,
that's going to lead the show tonight. And we'll move on and we'll talk about one of the more shocking results in college basketball. Bring on Everest, Jonathan.
cue the Tony Patelis picture.
Yes. FGCU 72, FAU 68 at Alico Arena in Fort Myers. 21 points for Zach Anderson, 18 for Dalian Johnson, Vlad Golden led FAU with 21-7.
Hmm.
Are you concerned about the Owls after this loss? They are now 10-3.
Not even in the slightest. Like, this sounds like kind of a cop out, but what does FAU have left to prove? Like, obviously, they can't keep doing this. Like, they can't keep losing these games in conference play. But, like, we know they can beat the best teams in the country. We've seen it time after time again, last year and this year. And it's just like, I, I don't want to say they're bored, but like it's like after last year and after that Arizona win and after what they did in Orlando earlier this year, like it's like kind of understandable that like they don't play with the same fire against like a Florida Gulf Coast or I don't know, at Rice in at the end of January.
Sluggish road game
Mhm.
against in-state rival that's playing that game in a sold-out arena. It's the biggest game of their season. It's their Super Bowl. It's the biggest FGCU game in 5 years. And yeah, that's what's going to happen. Now,
Like I'm not trying to make it.
FGCU's previous game was a 3-point overtime win against Florida Memorial. Does it matter? No. Is it funny? Absolutely.
I'm not trying to make excuses for them but like it's understandable why they would play this way.
Oh, I agree. I'm with you. I think FAU is really good,
Mhm.
but they're gonna end up on the 8 or 9 line again. That's my take. Just simply because they're gonna end up dropping 3 or 4 games in conference play just because they're gonna drop games. It's
And what sucks is the one line is going to be way better than it was last year.
yeah, I would
So,
agree with that. And
like
honestly,
you don't want to get stuck in that spot. Like a lot of these 2 seeds will be beatable, but like Houston, Purdue, Arizona, like good luck.
they beat Arizona, but I don't think they can do it again. If
No,
you
like
gave him
that, like
gave him 3 more tries. Now, not saying they're not good. I think FAU is really, really good. But I nailed this the other day. I did a Q&A on Twitter. I'm sure everyone that's watching this, I'm sure you saw my Q&A, at least one of my answers.
mhm.
And one of the things that I said, let me find it. Where was it? So someone asked me, where is it? Michael DeRosa, Road to the Garden, he asked me, which current top 10 team do you think is the most likely to end the season unranked or on the bubble? I said, looking at the AP poll here, and it's nothing against them because I think they're an incredible team, but it's not that hard for FAU to drop a few games to underrated AAC teams and find themselves looking at an 8-9 seed instead of a 3-4 seed.
Mhm.
They bought serious margin for error with the win against Arizona, and I still think this is a legit top 10 team, no questions asked. But there's a path back there that is more visible, perhaps, than others.
Yeah, it's just like watching that Arizona game, like I don't think like anyone played great for them in that game. Like FAU simply got a career night out of John L. Davis, and like they think that like might be the worst Arizona's played all year.
That was an awesome basketball game. Like
Mhm.
let's not take anything away from
No, not
FAU.
not at all. The point we're trying to make is like if FAU and Arizona met at a neutral floor again, like
Yeah, I'm picking
Arizona
Arizona.
would once again be a 6-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm picking Arizona.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And there's a reason why I had Arizona number 3 and FAU number 8. And I
Yep.
will still be keeping FAU in my top 15.
Yeah, I will too. No
I think
question.
there's closer to it.
I'm not doing a top 25 this week, but assuming they don't drop another.
Yeah. All right. To the best conference to watch in college basketball, the Big East. Creighton and Marquette played a competitive basketball game today.
Mhm.
Marquette wins at home, protects their home court, something that Creighton did not do against Villanova. The Blue Jays are now in an interesting, precarious position, down to 17th in KenPom, 9-4. Yes, they have the Alabama win, but outside of that, they don't have any other top 50 wins so far. According to KenPom, they are still the worst team in the country at forcing turnovers. They really don't have answers when the 3-point shot isn't falling. Jonathan, are you concerned about the Blue Jays?
I don't know if concern's the right word, because like it's more than just like I feel like I know what they are at this point, and I said this on our last show about them. But Creighton's a team that like if they don't make shots, they're gonna lose to good teams. Sometimes they'll lose to bad teams. If they do make shots, they can beat anybody in the country. More often than not, they're gonna make shots. I think
Yes,
tonight they like it kind of got away from them. Like
they collapse.
they didn't even shoot bad tonight, but like they turned it over 18 times. By the way, did you have any thoughts on the Shaka Smart video that went viral?
Oh, brutal. Guy needs to be humbled. But
Agreed to an
I
extent, but like I think
think,
people are mad at the wrong person.
who do you think they should be mad at?
If there was something objectively wrong with it, like why didn't the ref say anything?
I agree. I
Like
agree.
what like
I think the ref needs to be the one to humble him.
mhm. I
I
just think
never said he needs to stop. I said somebody needs to stop him.
that's very fair.
But what I like about Marquette is they do all the little things. This year compared to last year,
Mhm.
I just think they do the little things so much better. They're a better rebounding team. They don't shoot as well, but they're so much better defensively. They plug driving lanes. They're in passing lanes. They do all of the little things on that end. They hustle for loose balls. Oso Ighodaro had 16 rebounds, say 9 offensive rebounds. Creighton as a team had 4. Ryan Kalkbrenner is 7'1" and he had 3 rebounds today. 3. It was a masterclass in physicality, in hustle, in all of that by Marquette. And Shaka this year has done a better job than last year, and that's my hot take.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're first of all, they're a different team than last year. Way better defensively, worse offense, not substantially worse offensively, but notable enough. I think last year the thing with Marquette is like the beginning of the season when they started getting rolling in Big East play, they would just like come out and pummel everyone. Like you never really saw them play a ton of close games early in conference play, and then like towards the back half of the season, started playing these really close games, but they were winning all of them. And I just like had this feeling around them that like the first like a team in the NCAA tournament that they obviously wouldn't have scouted as well or known as well, I should say, with a really good coach could get them, and that's exactly what Michigan State did. I think this year, like they get after it more. I feel more comfortable with them in close games than I did a year ago, even though the coach is obviously the same. It's just like they've made the adjustments, and this is a team that I think has more sustainable, like a more sustainable style to win in the NCAA tournament and continue to win a ton of games overall.
I remember I said after Maui that I felt like they were burning themselves out with how hard they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I've seen that in the Big East and how that's working in the Big East,
Yeah.
I'm retracting that because, man, this team's really good. They are
Mm-hmm.
so aggressive. They do all the little things, and I love it. I love this Marquette team. Today was a gutsy, ballsy win. I mean, when you go and lose to Providence, I mean, Providence is Providence. Like they're not losing at the dunk. They're not losing at the dunk with John Fanta on the call.
Yep.
What is it? 25-0.
I do not know the stat, but I have seen it before.
and you go to a big game, nationally televised, linear TV, CBS, Saturday afternoon against a top 15 conference opponent, and you gut out a win, and you're down 11 in the first half, and you win the ball game.
Big East teams are all going to lose games. Those coaches are all too good for teams to just consistently roll in that league.
Especially in away games.
Like, I don't.
UConn loses to Seton Hall. St. John's loses to UConn.
Mhm.
Who else is there? Providence beats Marquette. And then Xavier obviously loses that game. And Providence played Butler to overtime at home. There's so much wild stuff that can happen.
Creighton lost at home to Nova.
Yeah, it's a great conference. It is the best, most entertaining conference.
And then there's DePaul, who just beats nobody.
They beat Louisville.
And Chicago State.
Unfortunately, that's something that happened, which I will see DePaul in person on Tuesday. I will have a full 45-page scouting report on them for you.
Are you going to bleach your eyes before you go?
Well, thankfully, I'm going to be seeing UConn as well, so I won't have to.
There you go.
Thankfully, there is another team playing in the game.
DePaul's projected to go 3-17 in the league.
I struggle.
Do they win 3 games in the league?
No.
I agree.
They might beat Georgetown once.
They actually are projected to win that home game against Georgetown.
I don't see any other wins on their schedule besides that.
Yeah.
And honestly, away Georgetown, home Georgetown, there's not that big of a difference. But
yeah, dude, nobody goes to their games anyway.
The thing about Georgetown is Georgetown's going to pick somebody off. I don't know who it's going to be, but Ed Cooley's
just like some random game that like Jaden Epps goes for 35. Secret scrimmage, Jaden Epps comes back.
I don't know who it's going to be. It could be Providence. It could be Providence on March 5th. It could be St. John's on February 22nd.
Providence will be like double-digit favorites against Georgetown, and they'll lose the game and drop to like the 50s in Ken Palm, and their fans will all have a fit.
They're good. Providence is really good.
They are good. Like there is no analytical website that could measure how good they are.
No, and they're 40th in Ken Palm. Like that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably a top 25 borderline type team. So I don't think it's crazy to say that they're 40th. I don't think it's crazy to say that they're 20th. The most underrated team in college basketball picked up a 101-66 win today at home, thanks to 3 players in double figures. It is the Auburn Tigers, who we both agree are in the top 10 of our rankings.
Like pretty easily too. Like
what have you thought of them so far this season, and did you watch them today?
I did not, but like I have watched them multiple times. They are exactly what I thought they would be. They have a perfect they replaced good guard or bad guards with good guards, and not just good guards that perfectly fit the system that, if you want to call it a system, that Bruce Pearl runs. And they just get after it defensively. Like they have a legit rim protector, which allows their guards to play super aggressive, which is what they had 2 years ago. Now, every team's beatable. Every team has its weakness. At what point in the season do teams figure out Auburn's and they need to make an adjustment? And what is that adjustment? That's my one question with them, because that's what happened 2 years ago. And I'm not saying that this team is that good, but they are very good.
Yeah. As a whole, Auburn's in-state rival
has
5 losses. then they have not beaten a team ranked higher than 55 in Ken Pom. They have lost to 5 teams ranked higher than 55 in Ken Pom. Where do they rank in Ken Pom? 5. The system is broken. Alabama's level is clearly somewhere in between Ohio State and Indiana State based on the games that they have won and lost.
Mhm.
But Ken Pom says their level is between Arizona and UConn. And I'm a Ken Pom guy. I love Ken Pom. I think it's the best.
Mhm.
System's broken.
I'm pulling up the off-season database right now because I have a pending question for you. All right, here are my rankings from over the summer and from leading up to the season. I had Alabama ranked as the number 36 team in the country coming into the season. Would you say Alabama is better or worse than the 36th best team in the country right now?
Slightly better.
I think that's fair.
They're probably like 32.
Yeah.
I mean, they obliterated Liberty today. Like that's impressive. Liberty's good, and they smothered them 101 to 56.
This is going to be the biggest gap between, like, is this going to be, how do I even phrase this? Is this going to be like the lowest seed, like a team ranked really high in Ken Palm's forgotten? Like,
Um,
I'm trying to
it's
think of past examples. There was a Florida team, I think the one in 2017 that finished like 2 in Ken Palm, maybe. No, hold on. Who am I thinking of? Yeah, this Florida team in 2017 finished 5th in Ken Palm and got a 4 seed, but they also like went to the Elite 8.
and
So,
they also were 24-8.
mhm,
This team already has 5 losses.
yeah.
That team didn't pick up their 5th loss until January 21st. What else do you want to discuss?
Anything else in the SEC? I briefly mentioned Kentucky.
Oh yeah, mention Kentucky. Go.
I think Cal's doing a great job.
He's
I
a
don't think they're
national.
as good as like Kentucky fans think they are.
Is Cal the national coach of the year?
It's a great question. Like,
I say
probably
no.
not.
I say no because I don't want to reward him for doing what everybody thought he needed to do.
Mhm.
Brad Brownell
That's what I was going to say.
might be the national coach of the year. I could also see it being no, it's Will Wade.
I just want to point out that Houston's up to a 33.29 in Ken Palm, and like,
You know, I was about to get into that. Houston is 13-0. They are riding the nation's longest winning streak. They are one of 3 undefeated teams. They are number 1 in the country in defense by 6 by 5.4 points per 100 possessions. Sorry, 5.6 points per 100 possessions. They are better.
nobody's figured out that they're good yet.
It's wild. This is right now the number 2 team in the country.
Like, they held Penn to 42 points today.
Yeah,
They
that's wild.
they
Penn is a really, really good offensive team, and they shut them down.
9 days ago, they held Texas State to 37 points.
Well, Texas State's not a good offensive team, but
No, but you held a team to 37 points.
the number 5 offense in the country scored 66 points against them.
Yep.
The number 12 offense in the country scored 55 points. The number 21 offense in the country was under a point per possession.
I'm not saying they're going to, but there is a chance that this team goes to BYU on January 23rd and like hasn't given up 70 yet.
there's a chance that this team goes to Provo on January 23rd and wins by 25.
By the way, it's like completely asinine that is a projected 1 point spread on Ken Palm right now, right?
I would put so much money
If
on Houston
like
to cover
BYU
this.
enters Big 12 play this week and like is going to start losing games and their metrics are going to start to get worse. But like if
I
that
mean, they're
spread
really good, no doubt.
if that spread is still around that when Houston goes to Provo, like my bank account will be preparing for some things.
All right.
You look like you're falling asleep, man.
I am. I am. You know, I've been to 8 basketball games in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
I flew in from Florida at 7 a.m. I woke up at fucking 4:30 in the morning to get to that flight. I'm beat, dude. We do have one last thing to talk about though.
All right.
High school basketball.
And
Ace
specifically,
Bailey. Ace Bailey. I saw it in person. 40 and 21 at the rack. Standing ovation from the crowd. Talk about Ace Bailey.
he's a freak. Like
Yeah,
long
I
arm.
was the one who saw him in person, so I'll talk about him. He's a total freak. Ace Bailey jumps out of the building. He is like Ron Holland, but better on ball creation,
I think he's
which is
longer than Ron Holland is too.
no, he is. He's like 3 inches bigger. He is
Like
just a bigger, he is jumbo Ron Holland, which is a very scary thing to think about. Because
runs
Ron
like a
Holland would be himself one of the top 10 recruits in next year's class or something like that.
he runs like a gazelle. He handles like a guard. He can shoot like a wing. I mean, there's like nothing against Dylan Harper, but how in the world is this guy ranked lower than him?
I didn't see Dylan play, but yeah, I think I'm with you there.
Like, I can promise you, I will never rank this kid over Cooper Flag, but like, he's not as far off as people think he is.
I had a Rutgers media guy, a shout out Ellis Gordon, kind of go over to me and say, "Are we sure he's not better than Cooper?" And
I
I
don't think
I
he,
I entertained it.
I don't think he is, but I don't think he's that far off either.
I entertained it because that was the first time I truly watched him play. I had not done a deep dive on his film, and I kind of had Dylan and like Liam McNeely. I know I love him and like all those guys over him. No, I don't. This guy is right there. He's number 2.
Mhm. Anyone else you saw that you loved?
Shout out Brady Lachlan
You told me about him.
from Don Bosco Prep.
Mhm.
Big performance for him. Oh, Ian Jackson is so smooth. Really, really good. Daquan Davis, really
Yeah,
good.
I like him too.
Delquan Warren going to Mississippi State is a perfect fit there. He is exactly like Shaquille Moore.
Okay.
Brandon Crawford, shout out this guy. Doesn't really have too many offers. I know Manhattan's coaching staff was there. Shout out Anthony Doran, John Gallagher, two really great guys, great coaches. They were there for the Brandon Crawford, who had 4 blocks. Kind of did a good job keeping Ian Jackson out of the lane at times. For RWE, he was really good. Probably woke up this morning with some bigger offers.
Yeah.
Any shout outs that you want to give?
Yeah,
Oh, wait, I wasn't done.
Yeah, go for it.
Um, what was the kid's from the Patrick school's name?
Aiden
Brandon
Love.
Lee. Brandon
Oh,
Lee.
okay.
Offers from NJIT in Missouri State. Played really well. Alex
All right.
Masung. Didn't have a great game, but loved his intensity for Hudson Catholic. And Adam and Jai for Cardinal Hayes is good, even though they got blown out. Who do you want to shout out?
There were a couple kids there that you didn't mention just now that are like top 50 kids in this
Peyton
class.
Marshall.
At least like I didn't hear Billy Richmond's name.
Was not particularly impressed.
Um,
Very athletic.
who else did you say? Glover, you told me
He's good.
fine. And then Pettiford, you told me good fit at
I was
Auburn.
not impressed with Elijah Moore.
Okay.
His shot
He's a weird player.
his shot's kind of broken.
It goes in a lot of the time I watch him.
It was broken. It didn't go in yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, like
He was an early watch for me just because like I watched Ian Jackson early.
yeah. I'm
And
really excited to see Boogie Fland next Saturday.
was he having an open gym before?
Apparently, he is not. Those are done.
Commitments will do that. Who do they play next week?
Iona Prep. I don't know if they have anyone.
Don't know. Didn't you say you wanted to go when they played Lehigh?
I did. That game is a different day.
Okay. Should I go into some of my shout outs?
Go ahead. Yeah, because I
I
wanted
didn't
to see VJ Edgecombe.
Yeah, that he's a must watch. So I didn't see obviously the quality of prospects that you saw yesterday, but I'll give you a couple mid-major guys to look out for. First, Jack Stanton, who's at Downers Grove North, committed to Princeton. Going to be a good player there. Can shoot, really good defensive intensity, high IQ player. Just is really aggressive and perfect Ivy League fit, and will be really good in that system. I don't want to give you underclassmen who are not close to college basketball yet, because I saw one or two that are really good. Let's see who else. JT Pettigrew on Bolingbrook has 4 Division I offers, not committed yet. Will be a undersized forward, undersized post. Shot needs to improve, but big body kid. Blocked 5 shots in the title game today, including he blocked Cooper Koch twice, who's going to Iowa. And then I watched Cooper Koch play twice in person this week. Once on my television. I'm not super impressed. He's a versatile offensive player. He can shoot, he can hit on the move, he can post up against guys that are the same size or smaller than him. But they're just he's just not super aggressive. He's not demanding the ball. He wasn't the best player on his team when I watched them this weekend.
All right.
Trying to think if there's anyone else.
I think that's going to do it for this episode of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you very soon. Do we do a show tomorrow?
I will not be around tomorrow.
Do we do a show on Monday?
I will let you know. A chance I'm not around then either.
I can't do a show Tuesday. Can't do a show
I can't
Wednesday.
either. I'm at Duke Tuesday.
Oh, you're at that game.
Mm-hmm.
Go Orange. Good night.